The last class, what we did is we did a pipeline, how to create a pipeline job by using plugins. So how to integrate one job to other job, how to trigger if job one fails, so it should not go for next. If it's successfully, then it need to go for next. So we did something there. We understood something, build pipeline plugins and delivery pipeline plugins. Now, as we said something about initially, the job can be created by using a kind of freestyle or Groovy script. So now I'm right now into what? Groovy script. So it can be declarative or it can be non-declarative. Declarative best for distributed architecture. That means where you have a master slaves architecture in a Jenkins, where you have a complicated work, then it's good to go for what? Declarative. Non-declarative, where you're not declaring where to execute the script. And this declarative scripts start with what? Pipeline uh, argument, or you can say variable. Non-declarative, if you have only master setup, no master slave architecture, then the code will start with what? Node. This keyword node and pipeline keyword is basically to understand whether it's a declarative or a non-declarative. The structure will be similar but not same. I think up to here I have said about something. When to use declarative, when to use non-declarative. The best is what? Declarative, where you have most options. You can define, you can declare, you can call multiple master and slaves. So I'll show you this pipeline job. Then we'll go for CD process. What should I do? My system is not getting the Jenkins.
We need to start the service.
Why is getting failed? Reason?
Reason, maybe we have just temporarily started.
You have to enable what? Service.
Yes.
Whenever we say start, it works only until the system get restarted. If once restarted, then automatically system get off stop. It's very important to go forward enable it. Does make sense? What is username password? What I kept? Can you help me? Thank you. Thank you. Today we are going to learn something about how to crack password, how to change the port number, how to make a CI script, and how to work with CI/CD process with the plugins. Then you'll have more assignments. Be ready with that. Fine. Right now we did something on how to work with a plugins pipeline kind of plugins like here pipeline job with the plugins. And now have we did or not? Everyone, pipeline job.
Yes, sir.
Last class only I just say deploy and build and stop, right? Now I want to build it. I want to have a kind of CI Java. Okay, it's going to be Java project. I'm going to select pipeline, not freestyle, because I want to do what? I want to create this CI process with a script. I don't want to go with what? Plugins. I don't want to bother about plugins also. CI project, GitHub and Maven using Groovy script. So if you want to go with this, let's understand, no need to bother about plugins. Create job, script, definition. You'll find a definition or SCM pipeline. That means where do you want to store the script? Do you want to create the script on the job itself in a Jenkins itself, or you want to store into SCM, source code management? The best option is what? SCM. Always keep your script in SCM. So you can call from anywhere and the script can be reserved and the team can access that particular script. Anyone can access. So fine. We'll go with this. This Java project. So you have a general option, you have a pipeline directly. In the definition, you'll find what? Pipeline script from SCM, pipeline script. If I select this, I need to type here script. If I select this, I need to define which Git or the URL where I have the script available. So right now I'll go with first, then we'll go with second also. Understand these points in interview question they can ask you. We have a try sample pipeline, hello world, GitHub Maven, scripted pipeline. When I say scripted, so say what exactly? Declarative and non-declarative. The script. Because of it started with what? With keyword node. Node is referring to a machine. Node is what? A machine. Now what exactly it says? The structure, how it's going to follow structure. Remember this point. Node, and I have a flower bracket, and I have closed the flower bracket. That means each section enclosed with a flower bracket. Here in this Groovy, we use def. Def. Def is basically for what? Defining a variable. That means if you want to declare a variable, a name, so I can define a variable here. And stage. Def is a keyword. Stage is a kind of keyword. Stage is basically for executing the task what you want to do. That means stage is like, you can say, a job. Under that you can say what I need to do. I want to execute a job for making an git pull. I want to make a like here in the stage, I want to make a what? Git pull. So I can write git pull command, how to pull it. So definition is basically variable. It's not important variable everywhere you have to do, but it's recommended to declare a common name or location or a path. You can store into a small name called MVN home or something, so it can be later used. So now, when I say stages, right? Stage, it's not stage, stages, stage. Under the node, you can have multiple stage. You can see that all the sections are same. On the node, you can have one or multiple stages. Every stage will have a name, stage name, which will be in a kind of what? A braces. It need to be written into what? Braces with a single quote. And the stage should be enclosed with a flower bracket. You can see that you have given the stage name, stage and stage name with the braces, and then you started what? Opening the stage. In the stage, what you want to do, all these actions will be done under that particular stage. So understand this point, and if you want to pass comments in the Groovy, what do you have to say? Slash slash. So what you need to understand is, before writing this, I want to say scripted. Groovy having scripted. Groovy non-declarative. Structure. Keywords. So what do you need? Number one, script start with node keyword. Node is a keyword, right? So node keyword, and under this we can have one stage. Stage nothing but a job, or multi-stage. Every stage will have a name and close with what? A flower bracket. So what is def? To declare a variable, you can use def keyword, def and variable name. Example, if you want to say declare def, I want to say git do. So I can store the git command, and I can call the git command without typing a big line. Whenever I required, I can call it. If I want to store the path, m path, the maven path. I want to store the maven path into this, and I want to call wherever I want maven to be executed. I want to call the path, so I can define it. And here you have this, and yes, the stage under that you have seen that def ambient home is defined before stage. That means it's going to be a global variable. If I define under the stage, it can be a local variable. That means a variable stage level variable. If you define node level variable, it's going to be global. That means in every stage I can call this. I can call the name. So I declare a kind of variable, and this variable I stored into the stage. MVN home is equal to tool M3. That means here I'm just storing the value called what? M3. What is M3? In your GitHub, like in your Jenkins, you have a word plugins, you have a tools. Initially, we have installed Git and a Maven. And while installing the Maven in the Jenkins, I have given the name of the tool. That tool name is need to be referred here because script need to call Maven. So to call Maven in a plugins also, while configuring the Maven build steps, what we have selected the name of the particular Maven tool name, what I stored in a Jenkins, a friendly name. So now, git command I executed how to write a Groovy script. That means a command. You have to understand how to call and how to pull that particular repository to your workspace. No need to define the workspace location. By default, it will pull it to workspace. So I need to have what? Git and the URL. That's it. So it will pull. That means it's not only the git command directly you have to say git pull or something. In that Groovy, what the structure is what simplified. They simplified that to get some code from my GitHub repository, just type git and that particular URL name. But you can have more options also, branches, credentials. You can define more options also. It's not only that. With branch, credentials configuration also. Okay, one. Second one is what? Get the Maven tool. This M3 Maven tool must be configured. That means in a Jenkins, you have to install the Maven and you have to define a name. M3 is what? Your friendly name. In the global configuration, as I said, global configuration means what? This global configuration. MVN home, the name, what I have defined here, is equal to tool M3. And this is going to what? Comments. If you want to pass the comments, if you want to have a comments in a Groovy, use what? Slash slash. Slash comments are basically what? A kind of description of a kind of command what you're writing. So your command, and you can say that this will not be executable, only to read, to understand, to share to someone so they can understand what you're doing. That's very important. The best practice in programming field, you have to use comments. So in Python, the style of comment is different. In Java, a different style. C++, you have a different. So every programming having their own keywords to declare whether it's a comment or not, right? So it's basically slash slash. So now I'm writing this command and it's very simplified. They have given to Groovy. There is no more complication. That means it's not important that you have to know about Git commands. You need to understand only Groovy style. So here I have given this an ambient home tool. I have said now that means this stage will be executed and it will get that particular repository. Done. The second stage does what? With environment. Run the maven build with env is a kind of keyword. I want to say that I want to call. I stored ambient home m3. I want to call it. So I want to say that I want to create a environment variable. Environment variable is basically a kind of variable which basically with a capital letter and as an operating system variable. If I want to create a variable, so I can say what? I can declare one more variable. I'm storing that I'm creating a mvn home is equal to what? That variable name, like friendly variable, that is customized variable, declared variable. So I'm storing this value that m3 with a dollar sign. When I say dollar sign, it is going to call this value. The store only just is equal to I'm just storing. But when I want to call it, so I'm saying mvn home as it is, whatever the name you have defined. So fine. That you have to remember what? The structure. That means to create an environment variable, you have to have braces and you have to have square bracket. And it should be quoted into what? Double quote. So I created an environment variable in the second build. So it's called that m3 and is holding that particular variable now. So now I'm executing some command. So if my Jenkins is installed in Unix, then I have to go with this. If it is in going to be in your Windows, then I have to use what? BAT. If is Unix, that means AWS Linux, Red Hat Linux. If you have any kind of Linux operating system, any kind of, you can say, a kind of distribution. So this is Unix is a function. Always in programming, the functions comes with two braces, open and close. Is Unix. That means a function which says that is Unix. If it is Unix, and logical operators, we are using what? If branching. In programming language, if used for what? Conditional execution. But here we have directly given git command. It will execute. There is no condition check. But here I'm saying that in build, when to run the build command. I want to run the build command, but I don't want to write directly this command. This command I can write directly. But I want to say to Jenkins, check if this operating system is Unix, then run this command. If your execution platform is Windows, then run this command. BAT batch is a kind of batch program, batch script in Windows. So that's saying that bat. But if it is Linux, you know very well shell, sh. That means this command you have to remember. So to execute the command in sh, I'm saying single quote, and then I'm using what? I'm calling that particular stored variable. Whenever you want to call, dollar sign should be used. So I'm saying mvn home, so automatically it's going to say what? The path what you stored, that is your, it's calling to what? Tool where you have installed. Pin mvn, that means the tool installed in like slash home, slash var, or it can be in a var and maven. That means it's going to be what? I'm saying the tool should have a location called what? Slash bin. Under that mvn. It's the default path of your mvn. So you have given that particular tool name. Now you are into standing into what? This path. And after that, you're writing some kind of command. What is that? Clean and package. It's not important. Dmaven test failure is a command. Ignore. Then you can say that clean package. If it's failed, ignore it. That means don't stop it. So I'm just writing this command first. It's your wish. But this is kind of maven command. Clean, install, package. I'll give you some Maven commands, what it means. First, it will clean that particular previous build, then it will package again, compiling and packaging. So this only this small command, but I'm writing with what? Under if logic. Why I'm writing under if logic? Because I don't know here that particular, that means this Jenkins is installed on Windows and Linux. Maybe this script I'm storing into what? SCM. So when I'm writing SCM, so I don't know about Jenkins. So I'm just pulling. So that's why it's good to have what? If it is Unix, then execute this command. It will check first operating system, a platform, then it will execute either this or this batch. Same command, but only have what? Difference is what? SH and batch. So in interview question, they can say how to define a environment variable and how to write a if condition here. If, and then you have to say that particular condition. You can call the function, or if should be written into what? A kind of flower brackets. In the stage you have opened that particular flower bracket, you have to close it. And the last closing is basically under node. Node start with flower bracket. So you have to understand the structure. How many flower brackets you have open, the stage should be declared, and stage can have with environment, stage can have definition, stage can have some directly command, git command, maven command, or Linux command, direct operating system command, copy. You can do a lot of things. With if logic also, you can have a if logic also in a groovy. So stage can have what? Stage can have definition, comments, with environment to declare the home environment variable. If logic, call variable, or you can have what? Git, maven, Linux commands, or PowerShell command, Docker commands. You can execute any commands directly into the stage. So you understood something about the structure of your code. Now the steps we have done up to here, and we are about to execute this script. I'm using a pipeline script first. I'm not storing in SCM. Copy samples declarative script. I want to say non-declarative first, and I'll say what? GitHub URLs or credential or branch, but I'll use Maven or GitHub. Maven, there is no need to have that bother about. Only you have to change the Maven path. In GitHub, you have to go for URL. That's it. Now, what I'll do is I'll go to GitHub. I'll check my this. I'll say copy. Copy that URL. Then I'll replace with my sample, which I make sure should be single quote under single quote. And what tool name? I don't know about this tool name because do you remember what we have given the Maven name? Anyone? Anyone can say that? Okay, I'm saving this. Yes, M389, right? M39 or 389 we have given. Let's see here. So if I want to check it, I have to go out. I want to say what? Manage Jenkins. Tools. In that we have defined that Maven. We have installed the Maven and we have defined a declare variable, the name of the Maven tool. So before going to script, you should know that Maven tool name, because in the script we are defining or we are mentioning that where is my Maven tool. So what is the name? M39. So I'll go back, then I'll go to my job. I'll do the configuration of my job. Then I'll change that particular M39. It's a small letter. Same thing I have to do that. It's a case sensitive. Remember this point. The script is just case sensitive. What is my pipeline name? This one. What I have given. Now I want to go for configure. In that configure, I have to do what? A pipeline options. In the plugin, you'll find 5 to 6 options, but here in pipeline, you'll find 3 options: general, advanced, and pipeline. So you mostly go for pipeline directly because of what? You must just declare everything. No need to go bother about what plugins. So I want to do what? I want to say the name here. What the name? M39. So I'm just changing this. That's all things will be same. The logic I can keep same thing, but I should know what the structure and what exactly is doing. So you can have a lot of templates, and you see that one more a kind of stage is defined. That is called what? Result. I want after build JUnit. That means after building, so automatically a kind of Maven command JUnit. When I say JUnit, it will store that particular report x.xml. I want that report to be stored. That means archive. I want to do backup. So this stage is optional, but 2 stages are very important: git stage and build for the CI process. So I'm just leaving this. So I have given all the paths. Done. Now I'm going to go with what? Save. Now I'll execute. So I should able to build without any plugins. I can do that. Now when I say build now, so now it's going to execute my script. When I click on a build now, it will execute. So I'm waiting for the build process here. I have clicked on a build now option here, and you see that there's an option called pipeline syntax, and you have some configure. Configure is common. Changes, delete pipeline, stages if you want to say, and if you want to change new name anytime you can change it. So once I build, I need to understand how to go for console, how to go for workspaces, how to go for the logs, and how to execute replay. As I said already, this is very important for you. After build, it will execute, and if it is failed, you can check in a console option. You can fix easily. Additional features of pipeline job, replay, restart from stage. This is going to be in pipeline, but you will not find in a build. Very important. I hope you have written this point.
Yes, sir. Written.
So now,
Yes.
after this, I'll show you how to uh, print the password and all those things. But before that, we'll go for CI/CD process. I'll go with this. So now I want to just execute this. Build not done. Now, once you have done this Java project, so if it is built or not, whether it's executed or not. If you want to see that, you can check out the queue, or you can check out the executed status, how many builds you have done, success or failure, and the build job. So you have to understand declarative structure also. We have done scripted, and there's an option called what? You can keep into what? SCM. Remember this point, you can store into what? SCM also. But I'm just waiting because it's getting slow. Because I want to check that what? Build states. Fine. Till then, we can go forward. Can I call script from SCM? Script, Ruby script. Yes. Yes. You can choose style, that means definition. In definition, you can choose what? SCM. Then give a path of git URL, repo URL, and credentials. That's it. But the best practice, use SCM only. Now one, and declarative script. You have to understand about declarative. So declarative starts with what? Start with pipeline keyword. You can see here a pipeline keyword. And try to understand this, what's going on. Configure. Now stages here say what? Multiple jobs. So no need to bother about multiple jobs. If you are going for plugins, you have to create separate deploy job. You have to configure separate. You have to go for build job. You have to configure separate. Test job, separate configuration. Release job, separate. But here, in every one page, you can have all the 20, 30 stages into what? Into one script, one page. You can troubleshoot easily. No need to go for different configuration. That's why I said if you have a complicated work, if you have a more complication that, so use words declarative script. So now I'm going to use what pipeline script. So here I have a kind of GitHub plus Maven. This is the script sample script which is written what in a declarative structure. You can see that pipeline, and you have an option called agent. It's very important. Agent. What is agent? Any with a agent keyword to call or to execute the script on master or a slave. Where do you want to execute? This keyword will define. It's going to be initializer, but this keyword will design agent nothing but a word, a slave or a node. Node can be what? A master or a slave. You can define it. And every master and slave have a label. And when you say that, example, if you say agent any, that means you say that anywhere, whatever available Jenkins, whatever the Jenkins are available, please execute it. But I'm not pointing towards that execution should be done on specific place. So that's why agent any will write. Sometimes you have to use word label. Label is a kind of keyword again. To declare what? Give a name of a Jenkins slave. And I can see here master and slave configuration. Why with this master and slave architecture? This is my Linux machine. On top of that, I just install Jenkins and I get. Now, I have jobs. I'm declaring jobs here. One job, I have created what? Java application. I have a .NET application. So .NET required what? Windows machine. And Java, I'm running into what? Linux. So I need two needs. If I build this application, so it required a Windows operating system. And whenever I build it, it consumed what? A build process, which required what? First OS. Then what? Processor. That means process unit. The consumption process and the memory also. So you require process, memory, and OS in the build process. So each application, depending on this configuration, what you have done, so it may take 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So if you have two projects and if you want to execute this project, so it's going to take what? More RAM and CPU. I don't want to give that. And even Linux command can be run, but Windows command cannot be run on this. So in this situation, what I'll do is the build. I want to say to my master, please execute this build onto this machine. Where you're installing what? MS build. Here you're installing what? Maven. So if I want to execute the Java based application, I'll go for what? This machine. So I'm distributing my act like execution. I don't want to keep load here, but I want to store all the credentials, admin privileges. I'll do everything from here. Tools. I'm going to define everything here. Credentials, admin tools, and jobs, configuration. All the things will be in master. But the build process, I want this to be done into what? Slave. So I'm not installing Jenkins, not installed. That means Jenkins is not needed here. Only I require the build tool. Jenkins will be installed only this machine. So this machine is about a master, and we have two slaves. So you understand the concept, why we do. We want to reduce the load of execution of build here, and I want the build should be done by a separate dedicated machines and which are compatible with the build. Sometimes you require Maven, sometimes you require Microsoft build on a Windows platform or a Linux platform. On the base of that, you have to choose your slaves. This is going to call what? Jenkins distributed architecture. I hope it's clear.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Only for building process. But now, whatever you have integration, that means you're integrating with different tools like Kubernetes. You have a kind of EC2 service. You have a S3. You have a kind of Git. You have a kind of like Docker. You have a Terraform. So all this can be integrated here. So you have a what? K8s. You want to integrate with what? JFrog. You want to go forward. Git, GitHub. I want to go for S3. I want to go for Tomcat, Docker, Terraform. I want this integration. Sometime I need this project. I want to integrate this lot of things, right? Selenium tool. So all the integration and all this credential will be stored into where? Into master. And the configuration, admin parts, you can define other users who's having privileges to access the Jenkins and to create job, to manage the jobs. I can define some kind of administrative privileges to multiple users. I can store all the credential into this Jenkins only. So a build can have a lot of script. So I want that should be saver. The security side also, I don't want to run this script here in master because a lot of credentials are there. So why not to do that? So performance, security, and compatibility. These are the three reasons why we go forward distributed architecture. Jenkins, master slave concept. Slave can be called as what? Agent. So why? Distribute, build load on dedicated servers. Execute commands, OS compatibility, various OS, and to improve and reduce risk of what? Compromise. Jenkins master as it store all credentials. So I don't want when the builds execute, the execution job can have some malware and it can affect to the Jenkins compromise. That's why I need to go for this. No Jenkins required at slave machines. Only membership with master. That's it. In interview, if they ask about Jenkins master slave, you have to understand the word distributed, why we do this, what is agent, we can define it. And note, when you want to do this Jenkins file, remember this point, the default name of Groovy script stored in SCL. When you want to store that particular, you want to write a script and you want to store, the name should be what? Jenkins file. Jenkins will pick up only this name. Remember name, that name is what? Jenkins files in SCL. You cannot have your own name. You can keep only Jenkins file. These are the important points here. Now, after this, you can understand this point. What is agent any? So if I say any, so it's going to define what? Any. So if you want to say help for the future script, if you click on this, you'll find what? A kind of help. That means it will give you kind of help of your all the structure. Now, agent any and the tools. Tools means what? It's going to declare what are tools, Git, Maven, whatever you have stored in a Jenkins, you have to call. So our tool is what? M39. So I declare this. It's on the pipeline level. In the one pipeline, you can have multiple stage. All the stages can be stored into one stage. Stages variable. That means keyword. You can enclose multiple stages into what? One stage. That means execution task can be faster. And I can control it. If I disable this, automatically all the stages can be disabled. That means I can group multiple stages into what? One stage. So we are talking about this. Declarative Script can have what? Can group one or more stages in one stages group. So it can be controlled easily. So I'm just defining stage same. Configure it will be defined same, but it should be stage. That means you have to understand the structure. In that scripted, you just directly say stage one, stage two, stage three, stage. There is no under stages. There is no group. If you want to group Git and Mav into one, you can have that. You can see that stages can have again what steps. If you want to define multiple different jobs or step one, step two, step three, so I can go for what steps also. That means a stage can contain one step or multi steps. Step is a keyword. The steps to execute what task, whatever the command, mav and git command, whatever you want to do, you can separate it so you can troubleshoot easily. If you want to define first, go for only one step, mav and git, then go for next step. I don't want to execute all the 5 10 commands. I want to have step by step. If one execute okay, then I have to jump for next step. So you can hear steps, git, same thing. Command will be same, but only the structure change. You have one more command called what? Post. Here you have a keyword stage, stages. Under stages, you have a post stages. Post basically what? Post is a what? A kind of keyword. To do what? CD process. That means post deployment. After that post, you can say whatever you want to do after configuration. The deployment option can be defined what? Post.ci. So you can do here from this option. So these are the things like here what we are learning and what we are understanding the structure, the sample, what is post, what is stages. Under stages you can have a post. If Maven was able to run this test even if some of the test failed because of what? You're giving a command called what? The Maven test failure ignore is equal to true. So Maven can perform a lot of tests, but in that if 1 2 test is failed, there is no problem. Maven can ignore it and can do clean and package. So remember this point, when you're running on Linux, you have to use sh, but when you're running in Windows, you have to use back. It's a commanded. If you are working with a Windows machine Jenkins, then you have to use this. Success. Post. If Maven record the test result and archive the jar files, that means whatever the test and execution done by Maven, it will be stored, tested, and it will be stored into jar file. So I want to say success, JUnit, archive, architect. So that means it will find the location on the target. There will be a folder called Sure Fire Reports test.xml. I want to archive it. So automatically it will go for what? Jar. So it is going to be what? You can write other things also. You can go after the build. What you have to do? You have to call to Docker. You have to go for S3. You have to go for EC2. You have to go for Kubernetes. After the build, then you can go ahead all those things under the post. So once understand, you'll get more samples, and you have to keep the sample CI/CD process at least. A 4 5 samples in interview, you have to say what exactly I have done with the scripted. I know scripting part. What is agent? What is the keywords? The tools declaration, variable declaration, commands, how to pass, how to execute the if logic, right? So you can say that a lot of things here into this. Now, if you want to learn more, you have a like syntax, pipeline syntax. You'll find help. If you go with that help, you can go ahead, right? So these all the things are going to be what scripting part. You should know the scripting structure first. You should know how to go for CI process. Once you have this idea, then you can go for what CD process also. Now, even you can create easily with the pipeline structure, syntax. I don't know the script. I want to generate. The pipeline syntax can help you to generate a kind of script. Pipeline syntax is very important to play with that. Snippet generator. It is here, snippet generator. Directive generator. Declarative online documentation. Steps, global variables, online, example references. You have a lot of example references also. Artifact, Gradle build, Maven build, configure provide, external workspace. You have a lot of options, table of contents. So whatever you want to do, GitHub or Git bucket, whatever you want to do, you can go ahead with that, and you can have a lot of things here. Explaining the code, what exactly it is, why I'm calling this. Now, if I go with this snippet generator, so it will help you to generate the script by just choosing the or passing the parameters, arguments. Sample steps. Here it's saying about sample here. Archive, artifact, and these things. You have a best patch. I don't want to go for. I want a build job. Check, catch errors. Check out, clean. I want to say a lot of executions are email. You want to do that email after building. You want to generate it. I want to go for only Git. I want to go for build job. Example build job. So it will say what do you want. You can have a question mark also. You can just say that syntax also. It will say what it means. So project to build. Which project you want to build? You have to give that project name. Example is here. Name of the downstream job to build. Maybe another pipeline job, but some commonly freestyle or other project use a simple name of the job is in the folder in the upstream pipeline. Otherwise, you can use relative path. You can say that particular path here, one. And here is saying that quiet period, how much time it need to be run. You can just question mark, you can just say that. Now what I want to say git example. So it will say that git repository. If I say the git repository, it says branch, credential. I have given example, all those things. Then when I say that generate pipeline script, it's saying only this command you have to write in a script. So it will generate the keyword. It generate a kind of what? A kind of script. What you have to do. I print a message. So it will say, wait, what message? I want to say what? This is first build. I want to generate. So it will execute echo and you have to do that. That means how to write a message generation, how to mail it. So extending mail, changing current directory, editing workspace after build. If I want to delete workspace after build, I'm saying just directly. So it's saying that clean WS. That's it. You can write down. That means you have a lot of script here. If you want to go for a build job, or I want to say what Maven, because we have taken this. I want to go for Maven here, library, and you have a different use Unix. Check if running in Unix or Linux. Wait for interactive input. I want to say current directory, password, execute that particular node. I want a script. I want to run a script, shell script. I can write that shell script. I can say generate. Automatically, it will show that how to write in a Groovy. How to write in a Groovy. Writes Maven. Email notification. Generate. Say step class mailer. Notify unstable build true recipient. That means you have to mail this. If something is going to be notified after the build, I want it should be go forward email to me. So if I want to write, you can generate a script. So you have a lot of build kind of step, or you have a kind of lot of options here. I want to do. So you can generate the script with the help of sample steps, stages. I want to say stage one. So all this kind of like here, I want to say a build stage. I want to create it. So it will create a sample build stage block for you. No need to write. So automatically it will generate. So now you have a lot of things here. You can pick up and you can generate this snippet generator. So what I want to say here, syntax cell is basically to generate generated to generate script user interactive arguments. So you just pass the arguments, the URL path, Maven build, email, whatever you want to do, you can just pick up with a test and you can go ahead. So this way, you have an option called what? Syntax cell. It's very important to know that. That means you should know how to generate it if you do not know. So once you have that, I recommend you to script with CI part first with declarative, non-declarative, execute it, and give a screenshot to me. Number one. Once you have done, you can go for running more and more post stage. Stage one, stage two, stage three. You can have got a lot of stages. Now, distributed architecture, I have given information how to configure. How to configure, that means practically how to configure a master and a slaves. So at least you should have what? Three machines. One is going to be master, one is going to be Linux with a Maven, one is going to be Windows with Microsoft Build. So this way we can integrate these machines, Linux and Windows, to the master. An advantage, already I said, why we do this, in which situation, and why to use declarative, why to use non-declarative scripted part. Now, From there, you do have common option called what? How to backup Jenkins. Jenkins store in which location? Slash var lib and Jenkins. Just copy it, archive it. You can use the command called what? Command called what? Tar, or you can use copy command and copy it. If you copy that particular entire Jenkins location, it store all the credentials, job configuration, everything, logs, everything is stored into this folder. If you have anything kind of disaster, the new setup and copy this same location. That's it. You'll find all the jobs, configuration, password, everything go back. That's going to be what? Jenkins. How to troubleshoot common errors? What's the answer? Console, outputs, logs. How to reset password? There's a XML configuration file into your Jenkins. You can reset the password, you can boot, you can change skills. Come in, please. Please come in. Come inside. So fine, just fine. So you got understanding this here, what I said. How to troubleshoot your Jenkins common errors, how to do your reset password if you forget. You can change what? Jenkins boot configuration. That means how the Jenkins should boot, and if this is going to be asking a password or without password. To ask password at boot, at login, or you can skip it. So you can configure it. I'll say what file and which location. How to change port number? Again, you can have what? The port number can be changed with the Jenkins configuration file. Yes, you can change. If two applications are specifically what? Tomcat. Tomcat, what is the port number of Tomcat? 8080. If you are running Tomcat and your Jenkins on the same machine, definitely it's going to be conflict of the port number. Then it is recommended to what? Change a port number. So it's not important, but for security reason also by default port number should be changed because everyone knows about these port numbers. So it's good to go for what? Port number changing. You can say that security consideration. So that means it's going to be vulnerable if you do not change the default port numbers of the application. Can we keep Jenkins files, script file into SCM? Yes. So these are the questions here. I'll just give the steps of this password file as well as port number file and a backup steps also. And how to configure CI/CD projects. Deploy static. That means at least Java application on a Tomcat or you have a static website on S3. You should know about this or Python application, Node.js application. So if you know and if you work on this at least or .NET application, so that means at least you can crack your interview very easily with this kind of options. Okay, so what I'll do is first I need the scripting part and your what I said about declarative and non-declarative scripting to be understand and execute. And finally, we'll have only one class for what I'll show you. I'll give you some documents. This password and port number is a kind of one-step command. I'll show you some post with the plugins as well as scripting part. Once you have done, then you can have what? Assignments. I'll give you some kind of assignments. You have to do that on CI/CD process. Complete a project. Is there any question for me now?
No, sir. No, sir.
Shoaib, are you there?
No, sir.
That's very important interview. Whenever they talk about script, they can ask about the structure. They ask about the keyword and how do you do the coding. So these all things and how do you take a help if you want to improve your coding and if you want to understand the Groovy, and you can use syntax and you can have sample. I'll show you some sample. You have to keep it at least 3 4 samples to start your job. That's enough. In a job, we use mostly templates. Fine. I'm just closing this. So one class, or I'm going to say, and please remind me to send you some kind of documentation, a password, port configuration, backup, other things on your WhatsApp. So you can follow and give me a screenshot, please. Give me a screenshot. Okay.
Okay, sir.
I'm closing here.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.